Consciousness is all and everything in the virtual hologram of our experiences, brought into awareness by the brain, an electrochemical machine, forever viewing streaming codes for experience and interpretation. Consciousness originates from a source of light energy for the purpose of learning. The human biogenetic experiment is consciousness brought forth into the physics by the pattern of sacred geometry that repeats in cycles called time. Reality is about the evolution of consciousness in the alchemy of time. To become fully consciousness is to remember who you are as a being of light, why you are here, and where you are going, as dictated by the collective unconscious that creates the program of realities through which your soul experiences. Simultaneously, Rene Descartes said, Cognito ergo sum, I think, therefore I am. He was correct. Consciousness may involve thoughts, sensation, perceptions, moods, emotions, dreams, and self-awareness. It is variously seen as a type of mental state, a way of perceiving, or a relationship between self and other. It has been described as a point of view, or I, or what Thomas Nagel called the existence of something that is like to be something. Many philosophers have seen consciousness as the most important thing in the universe. On the other hand, many scientists have seen the world as too nebulous in meaning to be useful. Consciousness is the subject of much research in philosophy of mind, psychology, neuroscience, cognitive science, and artificial intelligence. Issues of particular concern include how the presence of consciousness can be assessed in severely ill or comatose people, whether non-human consciousness exists, and if so, how it can be measured, at what point in fetal development consciousness begins, and whether computers can achieve conscious states. In common parlance, consciousness sometimes also denotes being awake or responsive to the environment, in contrast to being asleep or in a coma. Consciousness is a term that refers to the relationship between the mind and the world with which it interacts. It has been defined as subjectivity, awareness, the ability to experience or to feel, wakefulness, having a sense of selfhood, and the executive control system of the mind. Despite the difficulty in definition, many philosophers believe that there is broadly shared underlying intuition about what consciousness is. As Max Wellman and Susan Skrinder wrote in the Blackwell Companion to Consciousness, anything that we are aware of at a given moment forms part of our consciousness, making conscious experience at once the most familiar and most mysterious aspect of our lives. Does quantum theory explain consciousness? Consciousness, how do you go about explaining it? Indeed, many scientists are currently studying what happens in the brain and how the mind relates to the outside world. But quantifying what gives us consciousness is proving to be rather tough nut to crack. Is there some supernatural influence? Is it purely biological? Or is it something else? Something more than physics? Don't you think our consciousness might be explained by the Large Hadron Collider, which is probing states of matter that existed immediately after the Big Bang? So it's bound to throw up some new physics. Don't you reckon it might uncover some sort of particle or energy that might explain our connectivity with the universe? Subconscious saves the day when the hungry brain fails. Complex decisions should be made subconsciously rather consciously. This is the conclusion of Dutch researcher Martin Boss. Human brains are difficult, making complicated decisions, but some subconscious functions find even more when hungry. The more intricate a decision seems, the more we should rely on our subconscious. Patients presumed vegetative communicates via brain scan. Scientists have detected glimmers of awareness in some vegetative brain injury patients, patients and even communicated with one of them, finding that push the boundaries of how to act, assess and care for such people. Abstract thought. The body takes them literally. The theory of relativity showed us that time and space are intertwined, to which our smarty pants body might well reply, tell me something I didn't already know, Einstein. Waking up memories while you sleep. They were in deep sleep, yet sounds such as ticklets, whistle, and a cat's meow somehow penetrated their slumber. The 25 sounds presented during the nap were reminders of earlier spatial learning. Thought, though the Northwestern University research participants were unaware of the sounds as they slept. The sweet embrace of a safety net. A team of scientists will spend weeks studying the results. The experiment was extreme, certainly, but the neuroscientist behind the study, David Eagleman at Baylor College of Medicine in Houston, Texas, is no stranger. When we look back at scary situations, then they often seem to have occurred in conditional consciousness. Patients in vegetative state can lean, predicting recovery. Brain damaged patients who appears to have lost signs of conscious awareness might still be able to create new memories, showing signs of neural networks and potential for partial recovery. When does consciousness arises in human babies? How do we know that a newly born and a healthy infant is conscious? Where does consciousness come from? Consciousness arises as an emergent property of the human mind, yet basic questions about the precise timing, location, and dynamics of the neural events allowing conscious access to the information are not clearly and unequivocally determined. What is reality? Reality is a conscious program, hologram, simulation, illusion, dream created by digital codes. Numbers, numeric codes define our existence and experiences. Human DNA, our genetic memory, triggers by digital codes at specific times and frequency as we experience. Those codes awakens the mind to change and evolution of consciousness. Reality is a computer generated consciousness hologram in which character it creates at the physical level are programmed to believe it is real. Reality is a game of illusion, delusion, perception, and deception. Reality is about the evolution of consciousness in the alchemy of time. Reality is about experience and learning. Reality is virtual.